Someone bumps into you in a crowded hallway, their shoulder hits yours, their coffee sloshes, and before your brain has even caught up with what happened, the word is already out of your mouth. Sorry. You said sorry. They walked into you, and you apologized for existing in the space where they wanted to walk. And here is the part that stings later, when you replay it in the shower at 11 at night. You meant it. In that half second, you actually felt like the collision was your fault. Like your body was in the wrong place. Like you should have somehow predicted the path of a stranger you had never met. I want to say something to you right at the start, before we go anywhere else. This is not a personality flaw. You are not weak. You are not a pushover. And you do not lack self-respect. The reflex to apologize for things that are not your fault is not a character defect you need to shame yourself out of. It is a learned survival strategy. It was smart once. It kept you safe once. Your nervous system built it on purpose. And today, I am going to show you exactly how, and how to gently take it apart. I am Sage, and this is why we. Let's talk about it. Here is the myth I want to break. Most people think chronic apologizing is about being too nice, or too insecure, or too eager to please. As if you could just decide to have more confidence and the sorries would stop. But that framing misses what is actually happening in your body. The over-apology is not a thought. It is faster than thought. And anything faster than thought is not coming from your opinions. It is coming from your alarm system. Let me show you the machinery. Deep in the center of your brain, there is a small almond-shaped structure called the amygdala. Think of it as a smoke detector. Its entire job is to scan the room for threat and, the instant it smells danger, to blast the alarm before you have consciously decided anything. It does not wait for the facts. A smoke detector does not check whether the smoke is from a fire or from toast. It just screams, because screaming early keeps you alive. Now, above and behind your forehead sits the prefrontal cortex. That is the wise, slow part of you. It is the part that can look at the situation and say, wait, they walked into me. I have nothing to apologize for. But here is the cruel timing problem. The amygdala fires in milliseconds, and the prefrontal cortex takes a full beat longer to come online. So in that gap, the alarm wins. The word sorry leaves your mouth before the wise part of you has even sat down at its desk. And why would a bumped shoulder trip the threat alarm at all? Because for some of us, disapproval was danger. Somewhere along the way, your brain learned that another person being displeased with you was not a minor social ripple. It was a genuine threat to your safety. So it filed away a rule. If there is any friction, any tension, any chance someone is unhappy, apologize immediately to make it stop. And every time you did, and the tension eased, your body got a little hit of relief. Cortisol, the stress hormone, dropped. The alarm quieted. So the habit got reinforced again and again until sorry became your reflex the way flinching is a reflex. I want you to really sit with how fast this all is, because it matters. You are not choosing to apologize. There is no little meeting in your head where you weigh the options and decide, sorry is the right call. The word is already halfway out before the thinking part of you has even woken up. That is the signature of a reflex wired for survival. And you cannot argue a reflex away with logic, any more than you can talk yourself out of blinking when something flies at your eye. That is exactly why telling yourself to just stop apologizing has never worked. You have been aiming reason at a part of your brain that does not speak the language of reason. It speaks the language of safety. So that is the language we are going to learn to use. Now let's go back to where this started, because it did start somewhere. Picture a child in a home where the emotional weather was unpredictable. Maybe a parent had a temper that came out of nowhere, so you learned to read the sky constantly, watching for the first dark cloud. Or maybe a parent was fragile, often sad or overwhelmed, and you learned that your job was to never add to their load. Or maybe love in your house was conditional, handed out when you were easy and pleasant, withdrawn when you were inconvenient. In every one of those homes, a child figures out the same brilliant thing. If I take the blame first, I can control the storm. If I apologize before they even get angry, maybe the anger never lands. Saying sorry became a shield you carried into every room. And that child was not being weak. That child was being resourceful with the only tools available. Apologizing was how a small person survived a situation they could not otherwise control. The tragedy is only this: you grew up, you left that house, and nobody told the shield it could come down. This is not just my hunch. The psychologist John Bowlby, who founded attachment theory, spent his career studying how children adapt their behavior to keep the connection with their caregivers alive, because for a child, that connection is literally survival. His colleague Mary Ainsworth watched this play out in careful observations of young children and their parents, and saw how kids in unpredictable environments develop strategies to manage the adults' emotions and stay in their good graces. The reflexive apology is one of those strategies. Grown up and still running decades later, you are not broken. You are a very old adaptation, still doing its job long after the job ended. So how does this pattern actually show up in your life today? Let me name a few shapes it takes, because I think you will recognize yourself. And recognizing it is the first place the healing starts. The first pattern is apologizing for your feelings. You start crying and the first thing you say is, "Sorry, ignore me," as if your tears are an inconvenience you are inflicting on the room. Imagine apologizing to the sky for raining. Your emotions are weather. They are not a mess you are making on someone else's carpet. But if you grew up learning that your feelings were a burden, saying sorry for them feels automatic, even mandatory. The second pattern is the preemptive apology, the sorry you fire off before you have done anything at all. You send an email that says, "So sorry to bother you," before asking a completely reasonable question. You raise your hand in a meeting and open with, "This might be a stupid thing to say." You are apologizing for taking up space, for having a need, for existing loudly enough to be noticed. It is like knocking on your own front door and asking permission to come inside your own home. The third pattern is apologizing for other people's mistakes. The waiter brings the wrong dish, and you say sorry. A friend is late, and when they arrive flustered, you say sorry, as if their lateness is somehow a thing you did. You have become a lightning rod, absorbing blame that was never aimed at you, because a discharged tension in the room feels safer than an unresolved one, even if you have to take the hit yourself to discharge it. The fourth pattern is the harder one to see, and it is apologizing to end conflict rather than to repair it. Someone is upset with you, maybe rightfully, maybe not, and you cannot tolerate the discomfort of them being upset, so you apologize instantly, fully, for everything, before you even understand what happened. It looks like accountability, but it is actually escape. You are not saying sorry because you have reflected. You are saying sorry because you need the storm to stop right now, and the shield is the fastest way to make it stop. If a few of those landed, I want you to take a breath. Seeing the pattern is not more evidence that something is wrong with you. It is the opposite. It is you finally catching the reflex in the act, instead of being run by it in the dark. So let's talk about what you can actually do, starting tonight. First, tonight, I want you to practice the pause. Just one. The next time you feel the word sorry rising, I want you to catch it and ask yourself a single question. Did I actually do something wrong here? Or am I just uncomfortable that someone might be unhappy? You do not have to change the behavior yet. You just have to notice. Naming the reflex out loud in your own mind, that is me protecting myself, not that is my fault, begins to hand the controls back to your wise, slow prefrontal cortex. Second, this week, try trading your sorry for a thank you. It is a small swap with a huge effect. Instead of sorry I am late, try thank you for waiting for me. Instead of sorry for going on, try thanks for listening to me. You are taking the exact same moment and removing the self-blame from it, while still honoring the other person. Watch how different your body feels when you do this. The apology shrinks you. The thank you keeps you standing at your full height. Third, this week I want you to let one small tension sit without rushing to resolve it. Someone seems a little cool with you, and every instinct says, apologize, smooth it over, fix it now. Instead, just let it be there for a few minutes. Feel the discomfort. Breathe through it. What you are teaching your nervous system is that another person's momentary displeasure is not actually a threat to your survival. The alarm is a false alarm. And every time you sit with it and nothing bad happens, the alarm gets a little quieter the next time. And fourth, when you truly do owe an apology, give a clean one. Say sorry once, name the specific thing, and stop. No spiraling, no 7 follow-up apologies, no apologizing for apologizing. A real repair is a single clear sentence, not a puddle you dissolve into. Learning the difference between a genuine sorry and a reflexive one is how you get your word back, so that when you do say it, it actually means something. And I want to gently warn you about one thing as you start this work. At first, not apologizing is going to feel wrong. It is going to feel rude, even reckless, like you are getting away with something you will be punished for. That feeling is not a sign you are doing it wrong. It is the old alarm protesting because you took its favorite tool away. Let it protest. Feel the discomfort and do not reach for the sorry anyway. Every single time you tolerate that discomfort and the world does not end, you are proving to your nervous system that the shield was never what kept you safe. You were. You always were. Here is what I want you to hold on to. For years, you have worn that apology like a heavy coat. Indoors, in summer, in every room. Because once upon a time, the weather really was that cold. But you are not in that house anymore. The storm you learned to shield against is over, and you get to slowly, gently take the coat off. And feel for the first time that the room you are standing in was warm all along. You do not have to shrink to be safe here. You are allowed to take up your full space, feelings and needs and voice and all, and apologize only when you have actually earned the word. So let me ask you this, and I would really love to hear your answer. What is the thing you apologize for the most? The sorry that slips out before you can catch it. Write it down in the comments. I read them, and I promise you, someone else scrolling by needs to see that they are not the only one. If this helped you understand yourself a little better, give it a like so it can find the next person who needs it, and subscribe so we can keep doing this work together. I make these because I believe understanding why you are the way you are is the first step to changing it. I'm Sage. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.